Hello, Arm family. We've been speaking a little bit about preparation. And I would like to say this with preparation, some of us are more geared to preparing. I'm just going to say some of us can just be a little bit more high strung. Some of us, we can over prepare. And I want to say today, make sure that you realize we're on the potter's wheel, we're not on the treadmill. Okay, so there's two things in preparation. I think that we need to really look into our lives. There's bread and there's seed, right? If you only eat your bread, those are the things that are the day-to-day, the things that you enjoy, the things that it takes to sustain you for the day. If you only do that, you'll end up obese. And some people live from feast to famine. For years, I've taught people, I'm like, they're on cloud nine, and then the next season, they're bankrupt again. And so really defining in preparation, what is bread and what is seed. And so these are two parts of our life. Scripture says that God gives seed to the sower. That's what you're preparing for in your future, and bread for the eater. Being able to enjoy the day. Not always thinking someday if. You can't live too far out into the future. And in fact, Scripture says, having done all stand in Ephesians the 6th chapter. That means there is a time to rest and reflect. You know, when you sow your seed or you make preparations for your future, whether it's ministry, whether it's your family, whether it's your finances, realize that don't get on the treadmill. Stay on the potter's wheel. Realizing that you can plant that seed, but if the Lord doesn't cause it to grow, it's in vain. And so I had a prophet by the name of Ivan Roman. Many of you know him years ago, because Caleb Lay would say maybe I'm a prepper. Okay, so I'm preparing for the next thing a lot. And he said, Dan, I just see you digging. Of course I'm digging, because I'm digging ditches or opportunities for God to flood. He said, Dan, if you keep digging, you're going to get to China. Meaning it wasn't in balance. You know, I was excessively striving. And so in balance, I need to be able to enjoy the bread of today and plant the seed for the future. One of the things that we look at with seed and bread is a lot of time people spend on bread. And you ever spend time on stuff? Most of the time spent, when I say spent, I'm using that tongue in cheek. You're not going to get a return on things, a lot of things you spend your time on. And so in years past in ministry, I would spend my time on a lot of things. You know what that means? I would do a whole lot of things that in the long term were not going to be profitable. They weren't going to reap a harvest. And some of the things weren't necessarily bad. It was just, can I say it, a waste of time. But there were certain things that I invested time in. And so I might spend a lot of time with 300 people and neglect investing time in 3 people that were going to replicate and reproduce something. And so did I need to spend time with the 300? Yes, but not at the expense of investing time in the 3 that wanted to go a little bit farther. We can do that with our finances too. I see people feast to famine. They don't prepare at all for their future, but it's like a lottery ticket in certain seasons of their life and bankrupt in the next season of their life. And so we've got to have equity and balance in these. And I don't want to get us into excessive striving when it comes to preparation, because when you do that, it's out of fear, it's not out of faith. There should come a time in all of our preparation to just kick back and say, you know what? I've planted the seed. I've prepared what I can do. Having done all, stand and see the salvation of the Lord. And so I just want to encourage you, don't get on the treadmill when it comes to preparation. Stay on the potter's wheel and really define, okay, this is what it takes for me to live today and the day today. My daily bread, but also What is my seed? What are things that I need to invest in my future? So what I'm saying today is don't get into excessive striving. Realize that there's a flow of grace in your life. It's not doing things so that God does something. It's partnering with Him along the way, expecting when you've done what you can do, God will supernaturally do what you could never ask or think possible. Bless you today.